On today's DNVR Broncos podcast, we are breaking down the Cooper Kupp situation. Where does Cooper Kupp stand? Is he going to be a Bronco? And if it's not Cooper Kupp, Amari Cooper, Stephon Diggs, we're going to talk about the other receivers that the Broncos could sign, and it all starts now. So is the DNVR Broncos podcast, live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your local Front Range Toyota stores. And we are the DNVR Broncos podcast. Ryan Koenigsberg, Henry Chisholm, you hear behind the camera, Zac Stevens, and the great Bennie Fowler. How are we doing today, fellas?
Doing great, man. Really appreciate you guys having me back. Looking forward to some more discussions now about a position that I know a little bit about.
Oh, yeah. I'd say you know just a little bit more than that. And Bennie, I got to say, we loved having you on yesterday. And the community absolutely loved your insight. They loved it. They're looking forward to today. And there's only just one thing I need to bring up with you.
Let's do it.
You're a Warriors fan. It's the only downside of you, I think. It's the only downside I found.
Is that a downside? I mean, look, I'm a lover of basketball. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I'll take anything but the Lakers.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Like,
it's a low bar, but
I don't care if you're Warriors, anything, as long as you're not a Lakers fan.
Why does the town hate the Lakers? And I'm with them.
Mm-hmm.
I understand. I mean, I guess I just have my own view, but like Denver really hates the Lakers, even though we've been beating them a lot.
Yep.
Well, there's two sides to it. One side would be they have the most obnoxious fan base in sports, in my opinion.
Dallas
Cowboys? Is up there, but they haven't done anything in so long that it's hard for them to even say it.
Boston's pretty bad.
Boston's really up there, too.
Yeah, okay.
We don't have to deal with them as much, though.
That's
and
true.
Then the unfortunate truth that, we're in the honesty trust circle here is that the Lakers owned us for, ever, until now.
Especially when we were growing up.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's like every time the best Nuggets team would end up running into the Showtime Lakers or the Kobe Lakers.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, well, there goes our Cinderella.
Yeah. So before the Nuggets beat them in 2023 to go to the finals, the Lakers were 7-0 against the Nuggets in the playoffs and playoff series. And three of those were with a trip to the finals on the line.
Wow.
So it was just from the 70s on, is every time you got close to a championship, the Lakers got in the way.
Most hate is born out of respect.
Yeah, but you just don't want to admit.
In sports.
You don't want to admit. You don't want to admit the respect.
Yeah.
So it just turns into hate. And
it's everyone hated Tom Brady. Why? Because he was really good.
Yeah, exactly.
Denver fans don't really have to hate Tom Brady that much because he has a losing record here, and we dominated him every time he came here.
Every time,
pretty much.
He's the only team in the NFL, or the Broncos are the only team in the NFL that Brady doesn't have a winning record against.
Yeah,
which is incredible.
I'll say this about the Warriors: of all non-Nuggets, Steph Curry is my favorite basketball player to watch of all time.
Just true entertainer.
Yeah.
It's pure entertainment. I love it. So I was just talking to Draymond on the way here, actually.
What a flex. And so I think that's why you're a Warriors fan, is you're best friends with Draymond Green, right?
Yeah. It's one of my best friends. We've known each other since we were 15, 16 years old. We won our Super Bowl in the Bay. We won championships in the same year. I mean, there's a lot. Best man in my wedding, best man in his. I mean, it's beyond the Warriors.
Okay,
so,
I'll give you a pass.
Yeah,
That's a pretty damn good reason to be a Warriors fan.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, so you said it started before even Michigan State, your friendship?
Yeah, we played AAU together. So we played AAU together, travel basketball together. Then we both go to state a year apart. We have success there. He goes to 2 Final Fours. I won Big Ten Championship twice. We lived same hall, apartment complex, and then he goes to the pros 2 years before I do. And then, he wins the championship in 2015. We go on the Super Bowl run in 2015. We win it in San Francisco.
That's crazy.
There's a lot of serendipity there.
Who is
Draymond, a Broncos fan then because of you?
No, he's just a Bennie Fowler fan.
But probably watching right now.
Yeah, he's definitely getting treatment. But he's a football fan, so I think he loves the Steelers. Steelers, that's his team.
Who's the star on the AAU team?
Him.
Yeah.
What was your game?
I was a slashing 2, so consider me like and everybody who's watching this, I am not Russell Westbrook, but that's kind of how I play. You know, quick pull up, but I'm a slasher going to the rim, try to get everybody
giving
involved.
You 8 feet of space.
Yeah. Especially the high school that I went to. I mean, we had some legit players. You know, my point guard went McDonald's All-American, went to the NBA.
Gosh.
My center went to Syracuse. Ray McCallum.
Oh, yeah.
Guy's drafted by Sacramento. Center went to Syracuse. Power forward went to Miami. Jordan Dumars was the 3, so it's Joe Dumars' son.
Oh my God! Did you guys lose?
We went 24-1.
Okay.
Or 24-2. We lost to Bloomington, Indiana. So we lost on the road. We were number 4 in the country. They were number 5, and we would have been number 1 had we won that game because we would have been the only top 5 team in the country to travel and play at a hostile environment.
Wow.
Dang.
So in front of Oak Hill, all those guys.
Did you have a chance to play for Izzo or play in college?
Walk on. I wasn't that good.
Wow.
Yeah, I wasn't good enough to play at that level. No
Yeah.
way.
Did you think about it?
No.
No.
I had to work on actually becoming a football player.
Yeah. Well, you made a pretty good choice. Clearly becoming Super Bowl champion.
I appreciate it. No.
Yeah, that's a pretty good reason to not be a Nuggets fan. Living in Denver is your best friend is on a team.
I'm not a Nuggets fan, but I prefer to see the Warriors win. But if the Nuggets win a championship, I'm not going to be mad or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, and I remember on your team, you were good friends with Draymond. Was it DT and Jimmy Butler?
Yeah.
Were really good
And
friends.
Paul George?
Yeah.
I think it was
maybe Paul just came with
DT and Jimmy, and Draymond and Jimmy have been talking about that. So I'm going out there to Miami next weekend to hang out with those guys, and I'm going to get a chance to sit down and talk with Jimmy Butler and just say 88 would love this. Just the fact that we're together because we always talked about it in the locker room. So it'll be a good moment just to talk about how him and DT built a relationship and a friendship.
That is so cool. And I just thought, because that was kind of my first few years covering the team, I just thought that was normal. That like Broncos were best friends with other like superstar athletes. That hasn't really happened since you guys left. That was a unique time there. And speaking of superstar athletes, let's talk about Cooper Kupp, because the past 24 hours with Cooper Kupp, my mind's been going everywhere. Like you hear one report, like Cooper Kupp is close to being a Bronco. Then you hear another report, Broncos have never really been interested in him. Then there was a report this morning that said the Broncos are one of 4 teams that have really shown interest in him. There's reports that say that he's looking for insane money. And it's like, okay, let's take a step back. Let's put all this in place. Let's see where things really are. Because another report that keeps coming out over and over again is that he's going to make a decision soon. We got that 2 nights ago. We got that yesterday. We got that last night. Oh, it's 11 a.m.
Is it going to happen? Is it going to happen while we're on the pod?
That would be sweet.
That would be great.
Well, if it's for the Broncos, that would be sweet. And so, guys, before we dive in, I want to gauge your interest. How much do you and the Broncos, should they want Cooper Kupp?
It's got to be at the right price. When I saw some of the similar tweets that you saw in terms of the insane money, and I don't think we should pay insane amount of money for Cooper to come here. But if it's around that $11 to $12 million range and he wants to come here and be a part of something great and really help this offense and then also get the ball and also keep his body healthy. I think with Bo Lowry and the way that Sean will use him, they're not looking for him to play 75 plays a game. They're looking for a solid 50, and they're looking for maybe, 7 to 8 targets a game. But I would love for Bo to be here if the money works. I can see him making a tremendous amount of plays in this offense just based off of, some of the things that we talked about yesterday, but really the option routes and these 5-yard routes, the stick routes, quick outs, slants inside. Think of a better version of what we had with Wes Welker here, where it was just like, okay, you can't really stop him. Cooper Kupp is great in terms of leverage. You got inside leverage on him. He can make you think he's breaking out and then break in. He just has that type of dynamic play-making ability. But then also we got to talk about how smart he is in terms of understanding the coverages, helping Bo. Like, hey, if you see this or if this guy's got this type of leverage, this is how I'm going to break, and then giving Bo that comfort. Because it's when you have Cooper Kupp in there, it is literally like having another quarterback in terms of what he will see. So I like it at the right price.
Yeah.
So let me start by asking this. What's insane money?
That's a great question.
20 mil.
Okay, that's kind of where I was thinking too.
I think when it comes to the Cooper Kupp situation, though, I think people are dropping it down to 15 and saying that's insane money. That's just a guess.
No.
First of all, not my money. Second of all, yes, I'll do that at 15. I would. Yeah. For all of the reasons that you just stated, it's like, if we're going for it, let's go for it. And you look at the way that some of these like great route runners, great leverage guys have helped younger quarterbacks. I think a good example is like Adam Thielen with Bryce Young. Really, I felt like was a big part of him ascending this year. We talked about, Zach Ertz and Jaden Daniels. It's obviously a different position, but to me, having that in here and giving that guy we were talking about yesterday of a chain mover who's just like 3rd and 6, like he's a problem.
Yep.
It's just so valuable that it's like, let's just figure out the money later. Let's just get him in here.
Yep. Well, that sounds like Sean's mentality. We'll figure the money out later.
Yeah. And so far, they've avoided having to like pull money from future years or restructure contracts so that you can fit under the cap this year. Like if you got to make that move once this year to fit Cooper Kupp in and call it an off season, that's a great deal. And that's the right amount of money. And I think, last year, Lil Jordan Humphrey played half of the Broncos snaps. Josh Reynolds played 17% of the snaps. Add those together, that's 2/3 of the Broncos snaps where there's just an open spot. And, maybe Devon Bailey is ready to go up from 40%. Maybe Troy Franklin, Marvin Mims, they could grow into those roles. Also, maybe just throw Cooper Kupp in and say you play 2/3 of the snaps, and all of it kind of lines up the way that it should. I think that he would just fits that role perfectly.
Yeah, I'm all in for it.
Can you guys imagine Evan Ingram and Cooper Kupp on the same side of the field with Cortland on the other side? But if you have Evan Ingram stacked on the point, or if you have Cooper Kupp stacked on the point, and then there's an out route or there's a twist release and there's an out route in a corner, how are you going to stop it?
Nobody can.
Can't stop it because Evan's got the speed and the size advantage, and then Cooper has the route running ability and knows how to play leverage at any point in time. I mean, could be game over. And then you have you have 2 legit guys who can catch 75 balls.
Yep. And I agree with you, especially so Cooper Kupp on those corner routes, you go back and watch. First of all, incredible. Matt Stafford also incredible at throwing those though.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can forget the part where it's like he is creating space, he is getting open, but I think last year 16% of the throws to him were tight window throws, highest of his career. Because again, separation just goes down a little bit. Matthew Stafford though, he's gonna put that ball in the money every year. And I guess all you can do is put Bo in situations where, hey, the throw's there. It might be a tricky throw. It might be you're layering this thing. But that's the only hesitation is that you're asking Bo to make some tougher throws.
I agree with you. I think Stafford's a little bit, obviously he's more seasoned. He can hold on to the ball a little bit longer, but he might be waiting for Cooper to get up open on those. That's where I lean on Sean more to design and give and create more separation. If we go back and look at some of the New Orleans tape and some of the touchdowns or catches from Michael Thomas, he's pretty wide open, and that's because of the picks. Or hey, we're gonna have a bunch where Michael is the 3rd inside guy, and we're gonna have 2 people crash all the way down and run over routes, and then he stutters a little bit and then runs the wheel route. So I can see Cooper doing those types of things and getting open like that. Michael Thomas wasn't fast at all. So I think him and Cooper have that same playmaking ability.
Okay. And I like the downfield stuff a lot, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in the whip routes, the option routes near the line of scrimmage that are even easier for Bo than anything he was getting this year.
Yeah.
Well, and just imagine this offense compared to last year's offense and the weapons that you're lining up last year compared to the weapons that you just mentioned. Cortland, Evan, Cooper. You have Marvin too, maybe a running back in the draft. How different that is and how good Bo was last year. 29 touchdowns, almost 4,000 yards. And then you get him this much of an upgrade. Like the upgrade the Broncos have already got him with Evan Ingram's huge. But then you get him Cooper Kupp and you get him Marvin Mims to continue to develop in a running back. Like, what are we looking at for Bo here? This is how you really unlock him and unleash him, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is definitely how he takes the next step. It will be a process. I would like for fans to know that even when integrating Evan Ingram in, if you do get a person like Cooper Kupp, it will start slow. It will take about a month. It usually does with Sean Payton offenses where they start pretty slow. He always comes, into the season with this large list of personnels and different things. He's trying out different things, and then they'll get their rhythm. But this is going to be a little bit of a shock to Bo because of how much talent will actually be on the field this time. So I think, let's pump the brakes. It's going to be exciting, but also when he sees that out there, he's going to be like, who do I throw the ball to?
Well, that brings up a really interesting point, which I want to ask you about after I give a shout out to our friends over at Monarch Money, where, man, it feels like at the end of each month, I'm sitting back thinking, where did all my money go? Like, where is it going right now? And I try to go back and try to track it myself. And, I think I'm spending a lot on food, but it's like, where does it all go? Well, Monarch Money is here to help you know exactly where it goes. And without a clear financial picture, it's hard to make your financial dreams come true. And Monarch Money makes managing money simple for busy lives. They're the number one, the best Wall Street Journal budgeting app of 2025. They're the top recommended personal finance app by users and experts with over 30,000 5-star reviews. We actually hear so many people at DNVR, including myself, signed up for Monarch Money. And just in the first couple of weeks, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm getting a much clearer picture so that once the end of this month comes, I'm not going to be like, where'd all my money go? If it's all gone, I'm at least going to know where it's all going. And one of the cool things they do is they combine all of your investments, all of your different accounts that you have, savings, checkings, credit cards, put it all into one so you don't have to budget 5 different things when you're looking at it. It makes it very easy. And the financial stress is one of the top reasons relationships fall apart. And this is going to help you because it can track individual accounts and it can track all of the accounts together if you want. And for our listeners, they're giving you 50% off an entire year over at monarchmoney.com. If you use the code DNVR, get control of your overall finance with Monarch Money. Use that code DNVR over at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. monarchmoney.com/DNVR or code DNVR.
And shout out to Volo Sports as well. I know a lot of us want to be more active or just get bored and need more things to do. And if you are looking for more things to do, you should sign up for some Volo Sports Leagues. Want to play some Volo trivia, Ryan?
Yeah.
So I'm going to name a sport. You say whether Volo has it or doesn't have it.
Okay.
Soccer.
Yes.
Axe throwing.
Yes.
Yes. Ultimate Frisbee.
Yes.
Xbox.
No.
You're right. Flag football.
Yes.
Flip cup.
Yes.
Well, dang. So you're 5 for 5 on those. They have pretty much everything. If you're interested in joining sports, meeting new people, playing some skee ball, Volo is the spot for you. You can play in Lodo, Rhino, Highland, City Park, Cherry Creek, South Broadway, and more. Players can sign up as a free agent, small group, or a full team. All ability levels and backgrounds are welcome to join. Use code DNVR10 for $10 off any Volo Denver league.
And shout out to us over at thednvr.com. This is our final day of the free agency frenzy sale that we've got going on. So you want to get in before, I don't know if it's 10 p.m., midnight. So just get in now before it's too late. This is the best offer that I've ever seen us have, $36. Mm-hmm. Our t-shirts are normally $34.99. You get a free t-shirt with this package. Plus you get all of our great insight over at thednvr.com. You get 15% off at the bar. You can pick up your shirt here at the bar if you actually want. You get Fran's Die Hard big board, as well as I think he has 2 mock drafts out right now. You're going to get all of his future content. And it's not just for Broncos. This is for Nuggets, Rockies, Avs, Buffs, Rams, everything that we've got, Rapids as well over at thednvr.com. And it also supports us. So we appreciate everyone who's a diehard. And this is the final day to get in. So you can click the link in our description, scan the QR code, or go to thednvr.com. And one more shout out to our guy, Bennie Fowler, for joining us here.
One last thing on the sale. We are in a competition with the other markets, and we're currently in second place.
Yep.
And I feel like as the big brothers, us getting second place would be kind of lame. So we can't let Chicago take our throne here. If you're on the fence, sign up so we don't lose to them.
Yep, there we go. And so, Bennie, one of the things that you said was Bo had or maybe a slower start for Bo this year than people are expecting. And what I was thinking was, well, that's exactly what happened last year. Mm-hmm. And at least personally, but I think everyone else thought like, well, that's because he was a rookie. And it took him, the first 2 games, he had 4 interceptions, no touchdowns. Then the next game, he started to heat up, and then he just caught fire. I assume that was just a rookie thing. But you're saying that maybe he's not going to be 0 touchdowns, 4 interceptions to start off, but maybe this is something to expect every single year. Maybe a slower start than finish.
Yeah, I think Sean always comes into the season with a lot of volume. And this is something that I learned from Sean, or not from Sean, but the other players that have played in the Sean Payton offense and other coaches. Because I think in 2020, I think we started off 2-2, and then we finished 12-4 or something like that. But the firepower and offense that we had, you thought we would get off to an incredible start.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, it pretty much starts a little bit slow every single year. You start with 80 personnels, and then it gets down to 60, and then it gets down to 40. And then what are your top 25 personnels going into games? Who are the people that you can rely on? So I'm not saying Bo will start with a 0 touchdown, 4 interceptions, but we're going to have all this firepower on the field, and Sean's going to have to figure out how to now call plays with this group of guys. So I don't see Bo taking a step back in terms of his progression. I still think he'll get out. I still think he'll be efficient, but it won't be like, okay, the screen to Evan, and then, the deep ball to Cortland. And then if, we get a guy like Cooper Kupp, like, hey, we just seeing him, it's not going to fit seamlessly like that. So it's going to be a little rocky, and we're going to try to figure out and see, who can step up and make the plays. And then, we'll probably be integrating a rookie running back and some new players. So it takes a little bit of time to gel. But it'll still be exciting.
Yeah, no, that's really good to hear. I would have never thought of that. I just would have thought last year the slow start was due to being a rookie. Yeah. And it was probably being a rookie, but then also how Sean does that. So that's really good to hear. I did not know. Great insight.
I also kind of felt like early on Sean was testing Bo to see where the limit is. Where can I push you to right now?
Yeah. Where's the volume? How much volume can I give you?
Yep.
And then, you try to figure it out from there. And then you get a rhythm in terms of play calling and different things. And so it'll be exciting to see.
Yeah, it definitely will be. And one of the guys we're talking about is Cooper Kupp. So let's take a step back and see where things actually stand with Cooper, or see if we can paint a picture of where things stand, because I don't think anyone knows where things actually stand. And Adam Schefter was on with our friends over at Altitude yesterday and was talking about the situation with Cooper Kupp. And Adam clearly, he admitted he doesn't know where the Broncos stand with Cooper Kupp, how interested they are in him. So he didn't have a lot of insight there. But it was clear Adam had really good insight where Cooper Kupp views the Broncos. So let's hear this 40-second clip of Adam talking about Cooper Kupp right now.
I'll say this. I think if Cooper Kupp had his way, I think he would like to be in Denver. I think that'd be one of the places that would appeal to him. That I would say. I feel comfortable in saying that. Whether Denver's offer, if Denver's even interested, is going to be competitive enough with some of the offers is a whole other thing. If it gets 8 to 10, I'm going to guess Denver's not there. But if it's a little lower, I could see Denver being interested. Now, could they decide all of a sudden, you know what? Okay, it's at 8, we're at 5, 6, let's go up $1 million. Sure. Again, I'm making a lot of inferences that I don't know, right? But we're giving you hypothetical scenarios.
So a lot going on there, admitting he doesn't know where the Broncos are, but making it very clear that pretty much Cooper Kupp's camp has told him he'd like to go to the Broncos.
I don't know if anything he said was clear. First of all, shout out to our friends at Altitude for the great interview. He started off so hot.
Yeah.
And then spent the rest of those 40 seconds trying to walk back what he said a little bit.
Well, so what's really funny is Henry actually sent us a written quote of this yesterday, and I heard this entire interview live, and the whole interview was about Cooper Kupp. Every single question they asked was about Cooper Kupp, and every answer, Schefter was just so, I don't really know. And so I immediately responded to Henry and then felt bad about it, but was the tone that he was saying it was not as certain as the actual quote. So, but it did sound like the Cooper Kupp part about wanting to be a Bronco was pretty certain.
Yep. And then I think that Adam was like, wait, was I supposed to say that? Let me try and water this down a little bit.
Yep. And he tried to do that. Now we have Diana Rossini, who's also come out and said the Broncos, from her understanding, have never been interested in Cooper Kupp. And then you have Jordan Schultz come out yesterday and today, or yesterday morning and yesterday night, and said the Broncos are one of the 4 teams that's in on him. And what I've heard was the Broncos were never going to trade for Cooper Kupp because of the price tag. They were never going to pay $20 million, and clearly no team was going to. So the Rams end up cutting him. And the number that I heard thrown around that the Broncos would be interested, this is days ago, so not since Cooper's been released, was we'd like to have him for $5 million. And
who wouldn't?
So to me, that kind of tells me their interest, they have some interest. Now, what the Broncos have done in free agency, maybe they've decided to go all in a little more than they were expecting. And so they would bring that price up to the 8 to the 10 million. But where I stand, I'm with you guys. If it's 15, just do it. If it's 12, do it. 10, do it. And Schefter's saying if they're at 5 and they have to go up to 6, 7, 8, just do it. If he really is that. Now, if the insane money's 20, 25 million, okay, well then you're staying away from that for sure. But if you're in the ballpark of $1 million, what are we doing here?
100%. I think listening to the Schefter interview gets me excited.
Yeah.
And then seeing the Schultz report, the Diane Rossini report, I think is more so, hey, we're not interested in the trading part.
Yeah.
But we're definitely interested in the player, for sure. It's exciting because if he does choose to come here, if he has his sights, that means he really wants to play with Bo, which is exciting for this city because of somebody like Cooper Kupp who knows the game and studies the game, if he wants to come play for a young quarterback and he sees something, that's exciting. That means he saw something when we went there and played the Rams.
Yeah.
Did we play the Rams last year, right? Or no? Or maybe it was the Chargers.
They did
couple
play
years ago.
Yep.
Well, regardless, Cooper Kupp watches film,
Yeah.
so he sees something in Bo, and he sees something in terms of Sean Payton and the way he calls plays. So that's really exciting. I still don't think, the $20 million range is definitely way too much, but if there's a conversation to be had, you can manipulate the salary cap in any way that you want to in terms of signing bonus and, making sure that the cap hit isn't what where you can't make any more decisions. So I personally would love to see this marriage happen. And I think everybody else would in Denver.
Yeah.
I mean, talking about getting back to the days where, you're coming to see the offense score points, not the defense stop everybody.
Yeah, exactly. And there was one more report from Jeff Howe, a guy based out on the East Coast, but is starting to do more national stuff. He said the Seahawks, Saints, Cowboys, and Broncos are among the teams that have shown varying levels of interest in Cooper Kupp per source. The Cowboys are a long shot at the moment.
Can you repeat those teams again?
Seahawks,
Okay.
Saints, Cowboys, and Broncos.
So none of those are winners besides us.
Yeah.
And none of those are football first franchises right now. There's a lot of flux with all of those teams besides ours in terms of our head coaching, our
You're
leadership.
Cooper, yeah.
If you're Cooper, we're the best spot. Regardless of the money, and we know he loves to play football and he's made a ton of money. If we can make the money work, we're the best football situation for him as well.
And then I think one more team that I throw in there that I've heard is the Patriots as well. Now, interesting thing, Jeff Howe used to cover the Patriots for decades, and for him not to put him in there makes it interesting. But the Patriots fit in with all the other teams that you said in terms of they're not there yet.
They're not there, but they can offer them more money.
Yeah, that's true.
Has Kay Adams putting out any reports? I would know her information is good.
She does have good information.
She's on the golf course talking to who's the
Wyndham Clark.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, talking to Wyndham Clark, who's a big Broncos fan.
Yeah,
because he's from here.
Yeah,
I think, right?
yeah, he's
He had
a
some
Colorado guy.
bad quotes in there. Like he was just missing stuff left and right.
About the Broncos.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knew about Greenlaw and Hufanga.
He did,
I was
the
pretty
thing
proud.
that happened the day before. But he's like, 2011, we had Peyton.
yeah,
And I was like, no, stop.
Not quite.
That's true. It seems like they're in it now. Betting odds just goes off what the public's putting money on, so there's no insight there. But crazy enough, if you want to get in, the betting odds are good. Broncos 25-1 odds. They're the 10th most likely team to get them. So if you think it's going to happen, you trust the reports more than the betting odds, you might be able to get some good odds over at Bet365 right now. And it's crazy because typically I feel like when there's so many national reporters talking about one thing, there's a good sense of what's happening. That's why for me, these past 24 hours have been crazy because no one knows.
Do you
what
guys
Cooper
want
Kupp's
it?
gonna
Do you guys want this to happen?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, why? I'm just curious about everybody's take.
Well, he's just a good receiver. And like all the things you said, he's smart. I think that means he's going to give you easy completions, but also it means Bo's going to learn from him. All those young receivers are going to learn from him. Just solidifies the room. Because I don't think you need a star, but I think Court's got one of the spots. There are two other spots. You've got the three young guys. If you put a fourth person in there kind of rotating through those two spots, then I feel like you're just in such a good spot. And even the money, it's like there are receivers out there making $35 million a year. You get them for $12 million. You're paying a third of the top end rate for a guy who realistically could be top 35 in receiving yards, pretty easy. I think there's a lot of things that point toward it making a lot of sense.
For me, it's just like, have you ever been at the tables in Vegas and your stack's starting to go down and down and down, and you're down to 2-3 chips? You're never just like, all right, I'm going to take these 2-3 chips and walk away. You're like, all right, let's just throw all the last 3 chips out there and see if we can build this back up. In this case, the Broncos are spending the money, not gambling it. But it's like, why are we going to walk away from the table with 3 chips left? Like push it in. Let's go. Let's go after this thing.
Yeah. And that is everything you guys have said about how good he would be for Bo, for the team and everything. But why I want it so bad is it would show me what Ryan's saying, is that the organization is truly going all in right now. Sean Payton believes the team can win a Super Bowl this coming year, and this would show it 100%. I'm pretty sold with the moves they've already made that's what they're doing. Signing 3 big-time guys in free agency shows that. You get a 4th, especially one that's going to help Bo, would just be so exciting.
Yeah. I'm excited for it. I mean, I think there's some other good options out there, which I know we'll get into, but Cooper Kupp would definitely be my number 1 by far.
Yep.
It does concern me just a little bit that he is another injured guy. Because you've already got 3 of those. And if there's like an 80% chance that Hufanga's healthy, 80% that Evan Ingram, 80% that Dre Greenlaw's healthy, it's like 50-50, you get all of them. You throw another guy in there, and it does make me wonder a little bit if you're kind of setting yourself up for one of these guys to flop.
Yeah. And he actually has like real injury history, not just like one little thing happened.
If they're 80%, he might be closer to 50.
There's one thing about Cooper Kupp that blew my mind, and I want to tell you about it after I give a shout out to our friends over at Coors Light. It's a Coors Light Friday. We got Coors Light on the set right now. And if you're going to chill this weekend, whether it's at home, whether it's with friends, whether it's going out, it's St. Patrick's Day weekend, I believe. So if you're going to be going out, chilling with friends, enjoying the weekend, make sure to chill with our friends over at Coors Light, where it is the beer that's made for chilling. It's brew chilled, it's bottle chilled, it's can chilled, and it's even the mountains on the can and bottle turn blue when it's cold to drink. So it's just all about chilling. And if you want it delivered straight to your door, they're actually going to do that for you by going to CoorsLight.com/DNVR. They've partnered up with Instacart, and if you go there, you can get it delivered straight to your door through CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Rocky season is the ultimate Coors Light season. Rooftop season, Coors Light. We're getting there, 3 weeks away from opening day?
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome down
crazy.
there. So want to make sure you stock up on your Coors Light. Go to CoorsLight.com/DNVR or pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
I am babysitting my godson tonight, so it might not be too many Coors Lights on deck for me. But I'm probably also going to need some Lucy nicotine. You know, just take the edge off a little. And if you are into the nicotine pouches, you got to check out our friends over at Lucy. 100% pure nicotine, always tobacco free, and they also have the breakers. I'm actually a bigger fan of the regular pouches, but some people, like Spencer, I think, really loves the breakers, which have a little kind of. You remember those mints back in the day that were like a little ball and then it popped and then you got all that influx of flavor?
Yeah.
That's what it's like with the Lucy Breakers. They have that inside the pouch, so you get a little burst of flavor once, maybe you feel like it's running out a little bit. So you can check them out. And you can go to lucy.co/DNVR and use the promo code DNVR to get 20% off your first order. Lucy has a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. Lucy.co code DNVR for 20% off.
So the thing that blew my mind, and shout out to everyone that's tuning in before we get into this, hit us with the thumbs up. We really appreciate everyone rocking with and rolling with us, especially on this free agent frenzy Friday. And shout out to Benny for rocking and rolling with us. The chat, again, just absolutely loving you today. How could you not? And so the thing about Cooper Kupp that blew my mind yesterday, how many All-Pros and Pro Bowls does Cooper Kupp have, would you guys say off the top of your head?
2,
If
not 1.
2 each?
Yeah.
I think he has one.
Because he only has 2 seasons of over 1,000 yards. So probably
That's a
just a
good
Triple
stat.
Crown year. Probably just 1.
I trust Benny.
Yeah, I mean, you're 100% right, but that just blew my mind because I'm like, this guy, Bronco's about to get a future Hall of Famer, and I look it up and I'm like, oh my gosh, wait.
No, he's just an incredible player, but he's not a Hall of Famer yet.
And I think it's because of just the injuries. Like, he's been healthy for a full season once, and he went on to win the Triple Crown. He had almost 2,000 yards receiving, 145 catches, which is nuts, and then 18 touchdowns on top of that or something, which is insane. So then you're like, well, then what type of player is this? Well, when you look, his numbers aren't necessarily that good every year, but on a per game basis, they are like Pro Bowl, first team All-Pro every single year if he's healthy.
Yep.
Now, you know that he's probably not going to be healthy, but if you get him when he's on the field, you are getting that caliber of a player. It's not like he was just a one-hit wonder. No, he just isn't able to stay healthy.
Yeah. So we got a 17-game season every year. If we can get Cooper Kupp for 13 of those games, more so later in the year, would you take it?
100%. Especially if you're paying $12 million. Let's say you get him for half the season, and it's the right half, it's the back end, and he gives you half the games, and you're paying him $12 million. Well, that's only $24 million over, and that's still almost half the price of what I think Jamar Chase is going to get, the $40 million.
Exactly. So I think you still take it. And when you look at Cooper Kupp, you're not looking at Cooper Kupp to come in here and be a Jamar Chase or a Justin Jefferson. You're looking for Cooper Kupp to come in here and to be a solidified number 2, 1A, 1B with Cortland. You're looking for Cortland to catch 60 balls. You're looking for Cooper Kupp to catch 60 and Evan Ingram to catch 60.
Yeah. Yep.
And then you're looking to be able to spread the ball around. You're not looking for him to win the Triple Crown or catch 100 passes. You're not looking for that. You're looking for Bo to have some comfortable targets to throw to and to make plays and score points. And the defense doesn't know who's getting the ball next. So, I don't mind the injury history with Cooper Kupp. I also we don't think that he's going to be playing 70 plays a game when he comes here.
Yep.
So when you're in Los Angeles and it's just him and Puka Nacua, that's all they're throwing to. I mean, Higbee is their, I believe, their tight end, decent run game, but Matthew Stafford also likes it. Whoever he's comfortable throwing to, that's who he's throwing to. Yep. Sean is not going to set the offense up to where, hey, Cooper, you got to go here, you got to dig out this safety, and then now we need you to go run 60 routes.
Yeah.
So, I'm taking the injury history with just a grain of salt.
Yeah.
And it works well because you have the 3 young guys who you want to get on the field. So you can decrease the workload a little bit for Cooper and try to keep him fresh for the end of the year while you get those guys even more up to speed. The only issue is if you sign him to a 1-year deal and he's taking that 1-year deal thinking, hey, if I have a healthy season and put up 1,300 yards, I might have $25 million waiting for me after the season. It could change some things. So he has to be on that same page and realize, like, okay, this is a light workload. We're here for the postseason. This isn't me proving that I'm still that guy so that I can go get a big contract.
Yeah.
Is it too on the nose to compare him to Adam Thielen?
He's way better than him.
He is.
Okay.
He is.
Cool. Even better. Adam Thielen's age 31 season. That's what Cooper Kupp will be this year. Played 13 games. Caught 67 passes for 726 yards and 10 touchdowns.
Yep.
Paid $12 million for that?
We'll take it.
Yeah.
We will take it.
In a heartbeat. And let's just say, final question for you guys on this, because I've seen some people say, is the Evan Ingram contract, would you sign up for that? And so the Evan Ingram contract that they gave to Evan Ingram, would you give this to Cooper Kupp as well to extend it beyond just 1 year? 2 years, $23 million with $16.5 million guaranteed.
I'd go this far for the Cooper Kupp. I'd give him just a 1-year deal and give him $18 million and just guarantee it all.
Yep. I would too. I'm there.
Yeah. I respect you enough to give you that much money, guarantee it all, come in here and make my receiver room better, and then we'll talk about it midway through the year, towards the end of the year, if you want to stay here. But come here, get some money, and help me win.
The invaluable part is what you were talking about of like the wisdom that he can share with Bo Nix. And just the development part of that, and everything that he learned from Matthew Stafford, passing that on to Bo Nix. Like, to me, that part, I don't even know if you can put a price on that.
Our receiver room would accelerate 10 times with how hard he's going to work, setting the tone with his work ethic. But if you think about Vele, Troy Franklin, now those guys are behind him in the line. Now they're watching him eat. Now they're watching him. I was Demaryius Thomas' shadow for 4 years. All I did was follow him around, watch what he did, say massage therapists, same PTs, same trainers. When Cooper Kupp comes here, he will be looking for that same, or he will be setting that same type of precedent and tone. This is how you do it. This is how you work hard. This is how you finish yards after the catch. This is how you practice. That's what we're looking at. I was just actually texting Evan Ingram about this yesterday. Hey,
what a flex.
when you get here, when you get settled and everything, here's the PT that you use outside of the building. Here's this, and this. All the things that guys like Demaryius and Emmanuel and Wes did for me. That's Evan was like, hey, super happy about it. Can't wait to get together soon. So that's what Cooper Kupp is going to do, is show these guys how to prepare and then how to recover. That's what I'm excited about if a guy like that comes here.
And I'm excited that you're helping Evan Ingram out already. You're kind of bringing him into Denver.
Just make everybody comfortable. I mean, moving to a new city and not having everything that you need. I mean, it was a shell shock for me when I signed with Chicago in free agency, is that the fact that I didn't have I didn't have my personal infrastructure anymore. So now that I still have my personal infrastructure from my playing days here, any guy that I know that plays here, David Seals, for example, was on practice squad, like, oh, here are all my people. Here's their numbers. have at it. You know, I want this team to be successful.
Totally.
That's so cool.
$18 million is a little steep for me just because he isn't the only receiver left. You know, with Evan Ingram, it was like, you've got this one really good tight end, and then there's some other guys. But when you still have, you know, Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Tyler Lockett still out there, if it's 18, I'd pass and say, you know what, I think I can find a better deal elsewhere.
So let's talk about these other guys.
It's a lot.
If it's not Cooper Kupp, who's the top of your list, Benny?
Well, definitely not, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for Stephon Diggs, but we do not need the type of person who needs to have the ball.
Yep.
Don't want it at all.
Yep.
So if not Cooper Kupp, it's Amari Cooper. It's Amari Cooper for me, and that's somebody who can win outside the numbers, somebody who is dynamic at the line of scrimmage in terms of his releases and his ability to just catch the ball. But when you're talking about outside the numbers, comebacks, stop routes, hitches, things that he can do right there. But then when you're talking about 3rd and 5, they know, the other team knows that it's a slant. They still can't stop him because he can outside release, inside release. We were playing when he was playing with Dallas. I was in New York with the Giants. Like, slant's coming. Bam, outside release. Looks like it's a little go route. Bam, underneath. Can't stop it. And people know. So Amari Cooper has that type of ability. I wouldn't say he's going to be a high catch volume guy, but put him on the other side and just the routes and the things that he can do, incredible. And then I would also like a Keenan Allen, somebody who's later in his career, but was just in a situation playing with a young quarterback. Keenan Allen obviously has, top 3 releases of all time at the line of scrimmage, and things that he can do. He's not a burner, but in the middle of the field, what he can do and the way he can set things up, I really like a lot.
And from watching both of those guys, you think they both still have it enough?
Yeah, I think they're all those guys are in that 30 to 31. I think Keenan Allen might be a little bit earlier. They're in that, hey, they can catch 60 balls, on 75, 80 targets.
Yeah.
They can be that type, but none of them are going to be, hey, we're super excited. They're going to, catch the ball and run after the catch and pull away from people. But they will be great, reliable targets for Bo.
Yeah. Yep. And I think that this is exactly the type of person that Sean Payton wants and has wanted from the jump. I don't think the Broncos were interested in Chris Godwin because big money guy who's also, you're never taking him off the field. If he's healthy, he's your number 2, maybe your number 1, him and Cortland always on the field. And Sean really does like this receiver room where he doesn't want to just completely stunt the growth of a Marvin Mims by putting Chris Godwin on the field and just never letting him get snaps anymore. That's why I also don't think that the Broncos are going to be very interested in a first-round receiver as well because Sean likes this group, but you bring in a vet that can do a couple of things really well, that can teach these guys. And then also, it's not a Stephon Diggs where he's demanding to be on the field and demanding all of this, where he rotates in, and then the young guys are still playing as well. So I think these are the guys that Sean Payton from the get-go has been thinking, this is what I want. So 2nd, 3rd wave of free agency sort of receivers, if you're not able to land Cooper. And we already talked about how Cooper would probably fit in this rotation pretty well, too.
Absolutely. It is interesting to look at the numbers. So 2023, when Joe Flacco came in and finished the season and basically said, like, we're throwing to Amari Cooper every play and it's going to work. That was the year Amari Cooper had the most receiving yards of his career. 2023, 1,250 yards. Last year, though, midseason, the trade from Cleveland to Buffalo finishes with 547 in 14 games. Again, like, that's out of the ordinary. He'd been over 1,000 yards. I mean, every season except 2 up until that point. I would be curious if they do sign him, going back and looking at what happened last year, if he just didn't fit into that offense in Buffalo or what, because for the first time ever, the numbers just weren't there in the way that they had been for a decade almost at that point.
Buffalo's more of a spread type of offense, though. A lot at the line of scrimmage. And how comfortable really is Josh Allen actually throwing outside the numbers? Diggs was a slot guy. You had Beasley, the slot guy. You had Shakir now, who's a slot guy.
True.
Not Bo, but Josh Allen likes, to work in the middle of the field. He has a huge connection with the tight end. Amari Cooper is an outside the numbers guy. Yep. And that's how he kind of plays. And maybe he just got kind of lost in the shuffle. But I know they do a lot on the ball in Buffalo and what Josh likes, but maybe they just didn't have that rapport. But that comes down to coaching and the offensive coordinator and how creative you can actually be. And I think, I'm always going to lean with Sean in terms of his creativity and then knowing what somebody does really well and then highlighting that. And then these slants, the same things we're talking about with Cooper Kupp, I actually think Amari Cooper does it just as well, if not a little bit better because of his ability to work and win at the line of scrimmage. Everybody should go watch his YouTube highlights and just watch what he does at the line of scrimmage. It's incredible.
And this is like, whoever you're getting to do this is being asked to do very little. Yeah. And they're being given a lot of space to do it. Mm-hmm. I mean, you now have this Cortland Ingram setup there that is just going to, when you add a third person, they're just going to get favorable matchups, favorable looks on defense. And so if you just ask Amari Cooper to just, take up the space that you have and get open in it, he's going to be able to do it.
1,000%. You saw, everybody's been talking about Pittsburgh and having Pickens and now DK Metcalf on the outside. Well, we can actually line up like that too with Ingram and Cortland. You have 2 6'4", 6'5" bodies on the outside. You can do damage in the slot. With the right people.
That's such a good point. And you brought up DK because you know the position better than anyone else. Should the Broncos have been in on DK, they end up trading a second-round pick for him and paying him $30 million a year. And then I also want to ask you about Devontae Adams. Should the Broncos have been in on him before the Rams signed him to, I think, $25 million a year?
DK Metcalf, no. Same thing that you have with Stephon Diggs. Number one, I love for players to get paid. I also think I would, if I was an owner or a GM, I would not pay receivers top dollar. I just don't think you can win a championship like that paying a receiver that amount of money. I think it goes to the quarterback, the tackle, and then people who get the quarterback, the rushers. So I'm happy for him to get his money as a player. I wouldn't have done that, especially here. And he's also one of those very dynamic personalities where if he's not getting the ball, you have to worry about how the rest of the game plan is going to go. And then also your locker room. It's like, all right, he's talking in the media, or now he's in Bo's face about like how I'm open. I don't need that for a second-year QB, so I don't think it was worth it. Devontae Adams would have been nice just in his career and what he's trying to accomplish and achieve. I think he's actually in the right spot. I think he picked the right team for himself and where he's at, and he wants a more veteran presence, and he needs a gunslinger. He's played with Rodgers and now Stafford. Those are two dynamic quarterbacks in the way they throw the ball, and they don't have to listen to the coach. If they like the matchup, they're going to him.
I like how you call these guys dynamic instead
really
of
nice way of putting it.
Us outsiders call them divas.
I've been in some locker rooms with I've played with some incredible receivers, and I just I'm more of the Demaryius Thomas approach.
It's so valuable.
Sterling Shepard approach, as opposed to the dynamic receivers of the Odells or Michael Thomas, where it's like, all right, he's getting pissed. Now we all have to be like, is he okay? And now we're not focused on winning the game.
It was really funny when we covered the team. Emmanuel was on the podium and said, me and DT are divas. I'm what did he call himself? Some sort of diva. Demaryius is a cowboy diva.
Country diva.
Country diva. And it's like there's nothing
DT's
diva
not
about
a diva,
it.
he had a little bit of diva to him. He was definitely one of the most incredible teammates and still a good friend to this day, and somebody I learned a tremendous amount from. But if he wasn't getting the ball, he would start talking in third person. He'd be like, okay, how does Emmanuel Sanders not have any targets in the first quarter? And I'm like, you're talking about yourself. How does Emmanuel Sanders not have any targets in the first quarter? Can somebody tell me? You guys are paying me all this money? You guys are going to pay me all this money? And you're not going to throw me the ball? That doesn't make any sense. But he was also great with the quarterbacks, and he was super passionate, and then he'd go out there and he would show why he should get the ball. I love playing with E.
When they threw him the ball 140 times, he gave him 1,400 yards. So there was something there.
100%.
There's a funny story that Sean tells about Emmanuel. Is told that every single year at the end of the season, because Sean, I think this is really cool. He tracks player bonuses in terms of like, if you need one more catch or something, I'm going to get it to you. And so he typically goes up to players before the final week who are close to hitting those and tells them like, hey, I'm going to try to do this to get you this, and I'm really going to try to hit these bonuses. And he says, but there's one player that came up to me before I was able to go up to them. And Emmanuel shows up in my office, and I immediately say, Emmanuel, I know, you're 2 catches away. We're going to get you those catches in the first half. And he said he had like 8 catches by halftime, and he only needed 2. And then he let Emmanuel just take the rest of the half off.
I'm pretty sure the deal was I'll get you your 2 catches if you play the whole game.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah, it's like, I'll get you the 2, I guarantee it.
Yeah.
But you
He
got
was
to play
trying
the
to get
whole
out of
game.
there. He was like, hey, man, I want these 2 catches. I'm trying to get out.
Yeah. And he ended up with an awesome game. Man, I love those stories. That's awesome, Benny. Do we have, well, first off, anyone else we need to mention in terms of receivers? I think that's a pretty good list.
Tyler Lockett.
Tyler Lockett's an interesting one.
I do like that.
Yep.
I do like that. Deep ball threat.
Over routes.
Over, somebody who is reliable, somebody who comes in and is a great culture fit, great guy, incredible in the community. Somebody, just a super reliable person, and he still has the speed. He can track the ball. I don't necessarily like it that much because Mims is that guy for us in terms of the deep ball down the field, but he is a veteran presence, so I wouldn't be upset with it.
Yeah, man, the veteran presence would be huge with this young room.
And that's where Cooper Kupp, we talk about Lil Jordan Humphrey being on the field for half the snaps last year. The reason was because he's a really good blocker from the slot.
Yeah.
And if you bring in a Tyler Lockett, that is more that like Mims role, whereas you bring in Cooper Kupp, he is a really good blocker from the slot. And so you could kind of make that a 1-for-1. Again, how much do you really want him blocking? Are you risking the injury? But that is the role that's open, and that's why I think Kupp fits that pretty well.
I'm so sold on Cooper Kupp. My price just keeps getting higher and higher.
I know.
So you're going to would you shift to the 18 million?
I'm from 15 to 16.
Again, not my money. I'm here. Just get him here.
Give an incredible signing bonus. I mean, what are we really talking about? It's $18 million. I mean, like 1-year deal.
Just make it work.
Yeah. Like, let's do this.
Man, it's all these small things about the Broncos ownership which just continue to shine through about them just being the best. And I mean, first and foremost, the money. Yeah. And you never have to worry about the GM never has to go to the owner and say, do you have the money to put in escrow or to pay this guy up front right now? That conversation never has to be had with this ownership group.
Since this ownership group has taken over, have we ever had the opportunity? We really haven't had the opportunity to go get a receiver like this. And this is like when you think about the ownership group where they know him just as well as
True.
The coaches.
Yep. It's such a good point.
I doubt it.
Yeah. It's a really
They
good
might be at Sean like, hey, you want to do this?
Yep.
Sean's like, they're like, Sean, you want to do this?
Yep.
Like, what's it going to take?
Yep.
What's it going to take?
Yep.
It is
I love that.
Because they came here to win championships too.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh, 1,000%.
I'm curious. Have you? I can't think of a single like true slot receiver that Sean has had. They're all either like bigger slots or like speed slots, but it seems like that traditional like little Wes Welker type. I haven't been able to think of one.
Lance Moore.
Okay,
Lance Moore.
There we go.
He wore 16 in New Orleans. Let me see. You had Deontay Harris. He was a small, more
speedy.
Mimsy type of guy, but no real slot like, curl route in the slot, drag route in the slot. No, I don't think anybody like a Kupp or a Wes.
Yeah.
No, it's
There hasn't been that many of those guys though.
That is true.
Yeah.
They are tough to find.
And a lot of them have been Broncos.
Again, part of the reason
Stokely
is
West.
you want that blocker from the slot, and Cooper Kupp checks that box. He'll replace with a like Lil Jordan Humphrey just to get the blocking in there and say like we'll telegraph that we're running 75% of the time from this, but it's worth it.
How many guys have we actually seen like Kupp though? Where
Like Kupp, almost none.
where I'm trying to think of any receiver where they've caught 140 passes in a season, but also been the main blocker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, the Rams hope it's Puka.
Yeah. Well,
And maybe
I mean,
it could be, but
I don't know about the blocking part, but he's incredible head receiver.
yeah.
Solid blocker too.
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah.
I saw a Cooper Kupp clip last night where he said he came in his freshman year, and I think he's talking about high school because I couldn't imagine this being college, but maybe it was college. He said he came in at 116 pounds.
Wow.
116.
So I was like, this has got to be high school.
I don't
but he's
know.
like,
Have to be.
I mean, as a Big Sky football fan myself, like there is a reason every FCS football is a player is a FCS football player. It's like for some guys it's grades, for some guys it's like behavior, for some guys it's like you're only 116 pounds. We just can't justify it. It's got to be.
He was just saying like I just decided like I want to play football, and so everything I ever did from that point on was, does this make me a better football player? He's like, I walked around school every day with ankle weights, looking like an idiot, but it made me stronger. And like it was just this long thing of like how hard he worked to get to this point. It was pretty sick.
Hey, Cooper, if you're watching this show, we don't need that type of mentality anymore. We want you to come here and we want you to be healthy. We want you to play 17 games.
Just take care of yourself.
So take the chip off the shoulder. You've made some money. Now come in here and help us win a championship.
I love it. And that's the selling point. And let's dive into some super chats before we're out of here. A lot of people chiming in. Mile High Singh, who says, would signing Cooper Kupp hinder Marvin Mims' development?
No, they don't play the same type of ball. Marvin Mims is down the field, super dynamic, give you the reverses, put him in the backfield. It only helps him in terms of his development and maybe making him a more polished route runner and catcher of the football. So I think it just helps his development.
Yep. Again, Lil Jordan Humphrey, Josh Reynolds combined to play 2/3 of your snaps last year. Just plug in that role. Everybody else can have the same role. And if somebody gets hurt, then obviously the roles expand.
Yep. We have Jose who chimed in who said, man, Benny is so locked in. Love his analysis. And Mile High Singh says the same thing. Says, welcome Bennie Fowler to the pod. Great analysis. This has been not just great analysis. It's been a lot of fun, Benny.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed this.
Appreciate you guys.
Broncos Tube says, Zach, I'll become a diehard right now if you say Joker, 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 Joker.
There you go.
Yeah, it was to get you to make that face there, Henry. Welcome to the diehard
I feel
community.
like the Joker saga is over, so I feel good.
Nope, it's not over because can you dial up the tweet from the Broncos Joker himself, who is holding on to this and embracing it. Evan Ingram put out this tweet yesterday with the little shh emoji, and he is fully embracing it. Oh, it's so good.
You know what that means. You know that means when he was in that facility all day, they were showing him clips and like this. Sean kept saying that to him.
Yep. 100%.
Sean was just walking around saying, "Why so serious?" No, but for real, when I saw that, my first thought was great recruiting job by Sean.
Yeah.
He recruited him by pitching him that role.
Yep. And then you just keep saying things like Jimmy Graham, Jeremy Shockey, Jason Witten. There's so many of those guys. It's like, I'm just going to do the exact same thing if you're interested.
Yep. Prolong his career.
Totally.
And really give him a stage where he can play football at the highest level. I mean, we're going to have playing in Jacksonville, you're not going to get nationally televised games.
Only in England.
Exactly. So
a.m.
really put him, back into the spotlight and having him a chance to win and compete at a high level.
How do we feel about number one?
Love it.
Ballsy.
Yes.
Oh.
Yep.
That's ballsy.
You got to be him.
You got to be the guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got to catch 100 balls.
Well, after talking to Sean, he probably feels like he's going to.
Oh, yeah.
The way Coach Prime says is, how can you wear number one if you're not the one?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. He's first tight end since at least 1972 to wear number one.
I love it.
Scary.
That's when they start putting rules on it.
Scary in a dangerous way. Yeah. I like that.
A lot of targets coming his way.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
I think he'll look good in it too, because he's in good shape. He has
Small
that
enough.
kind of triangular, so the one won't look. His gut isn't too big for the one to look tiny.
Shout out to the equipment guys in Denver. You don't go to Flip and ask for number one if Sean didn't tell you that you're going to get the ball a lot.
I love
You
that.
won't even think about it. Oh, I want
No.
number one unless
Yeah.
you're like, you're going to get the ball.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
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 The
Yeah.
Avs just brought back Eric Johnson, who played, for a long time, and he always wore number 6. And Landy said that he told the equipment staff when he got there to be like, "Sorry, man, we only have 59."
That's great. One more final super chat from Josh. Oh, we got one too from Jeremy, who says, Amari, Cooper Kupp, who else, and who backs are we looking at, or which backs are we looking at? So yeah, we talked about Amari, we talked about Cooper Kupp. In terms of backs, the only one that jumps off to me that's available in free agency still is J.K. Dobbins, and heck, Broncos are kind of going in on all in on injured guys. J.K. Dobbins, he is electric. He was one of the best backs in the first half of the NFL last year, maybe the best back outside of Derrick Henry in the first half of last season. So I'm down for it. And then you also draft one in the first couple rounds.
Yeah, you could probably get J.K. Dobbins for $2 million or something like that. Nothing crazy. And
Rico Dowdle still out there, right?
No, he signed with the Panthers yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't let the Ashton Genty dream die. Especially when the Cowboys sign Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders, and you're like, oh, looks like getting past 12 is a possibility now.
Yeah, it's true.
Probably have to trade up.
you got to trade up.
Yeah.
You got, but I'm down.
Trade up to what? What's the highest you'd go?
If you can trade this year's first and second and get him, then I'm happy.
I'd do that too.
If
I
you
do
gotta
too.
if you gotta throw in next year's fifth or something.
You guys think he's that good?
I actually don't think he's as good as Henry does, and I think I'd still do that deal.
Yeah.
As long as it's not
Henry
a future
thinks he's
first.
like generational. I think he's really, really, really good.
I would just say go watch some Ashton Genty highlights. Go watch some LaDainian Tomlinson highlights, and then try to tell me what the difference is.
Okay,
and the difference
unfortunately,
might
we
be
gotta
4.39.
wrap this conversation up. We'll roll it into next week.
Numbers would suggest it's true.
One more super chat from John Morton, who says, "Do we trade our second rounder for someone like Chris Olave?" You played with Chris. What do you think, quick, Benny?
I didn't play with. I didn't play with Chris. I think he came the year after. Concussions. Super dynamic route runner. I mean, super dynamic, and can and is a younger guy. But the concussions do scare me. He's had 5 like really bad ones.
Eesh.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So I don't know.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us. Awesome show. Shout out to Benny for the amazing content, the fun these past 2 days. We really appreciate it, Benny.
Appreciate you guys.
And shout out to Ryan Henry. Yeah, here. And shout out to everyone who tuned in. We'll see you on Monday on the DNVR Broncos podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.